So who's ever at the top seems to influence people of that generation. And Dorian Yates, for years and years, bodybuilders trained their body parts just once a week. And they trained less often. And because of that, they had success. The bodies weren't shrinking. They weren't shrinking left and right. They grew new muscle. Well, hi, I'm John Hart, and welcome back to Mr. America Hart. Today we're talking about how often should you, as a bodybuilder, train your muscles to grow some nice muscle on that physique of yours. And you know, this one's an interesting one because I've answered this before, I've done videos on this before, and it seems like each time that I've done it, I've gotten more and more questions and comments as well. A lot of good comments, so I want to commend everybody on that. But the one study that has most often been cited throughout all of these videos is that they keep bringing up this Schoenfeld research that Dr. Schoenfeld had done. And it's interesting really because he recommends training quite high volume and quite often each body part multiple times a week with a grand total of quite a few sets. We're getting to around close to 20 sets per body part, just underneath that in the course of a week. Okay, say 16 to 20 in that zone in the course of a week. Now, having said that, I know that some of you want to make comments down below. Please, I want to hear what you have to say. I'm going to do a direct apples to apples comparison here, and it's really the only fair one that I can come up with because some of you all know that I've been involved in natural bodybuilding, and I can't really come up with a direct apples to apples comparison in natural bodybuilding because straight up bodybuilding, untested bodybuilding, Ronnie Coleman versus a Dorian Yates. And I say apples to apples because they both trained very, very hard. That's number one. Number two, they both took drugs in bodybuilding. You could say they both pushed it to an extreme, in their own ways, but combining, I'm talking about both the drugs and the training. However, they trained diametrically in opposite ways. Ronnie Coleman, on the one hand, he trained 6 days a week, each body part twice a week, with a decent amount of volume. Now, I wouldn't say 20 sets of body part, but he did a decent amount of volume, and he went in the gym to destroy. He went in the gym to just take it down, to beat that body up, beat that muscle up, send the signal that it needed to grow, period. And with intensity, as much as he could get going. Twice a week, each body part. Okay? Dorian Yates, on the other hand, Dorian would train 4 times a week for about 40-45 minutes. And for those of you that dispel that or disagree with that, well, we've seen him train. Okay, we have seen him train. So he's been out in California, he's been in New York. We've seen him train in the United States. And so we know that, in fact, he's telling the truth in how he trains. So for those who say he didn't use high intensity training, he did. And so here he is training 4 days a week, about 40 minutes a session, 45 minutes a session. And those workouts, he would just train each body part 1 time per week. The workouts were short, they were very intense. Again, going in the gym with just a seek and destroy mentality. So we're talking about guys here, apples to apples, that went in the gym to train very hard. They went in the gym to train with very heavy weights. They went in the gym using techniques that raised the intensity of their workouts up. They went in the gym to be number 1 in the world. They went in the gym to improve their physiques each time. Okay, so we're not talking about, and there will be some of you, please comment down below on your own workouts. I'd love to hear how you're working out. But there will be some of you who will say, well, I squat 7 days a week. And I will contend that you're not going into the gym trying to kill it, trying to, go in there and annihilate. Go in there and train as hard as you can with as heavy a weight as you can. You're certainly not doing that 7 days a week. So don't, please. A moment of silence. So That's just not the case. Okay, if you're going to go in there and you're going to lift like a bodybuilder we're talking about to grow some muscle, then we're talking about you going in the gym with an all-out mentality to cut loose, to just blast, take that body part down, okay, to the point where it is just finished. Of course, everybody defines finished in a different way, but yet giving it an all-out effort in your working sets, let's say. Whether you choose to do multiple sets in that workout or just one set in that workout for that body part or that exercise. This is not the discussion right now. The discussion is how many times per week, though, to hit those body parts. Back to the apples and apples. Ronnie Coleman versus Dorian Yates, right? So 2 times a week versus 1 time a week. The big difference. Oh, I left out one more thing. Not only did they both train really hard, yes, they were drug-using bodybuilders, you know, they admitted as well. Besides those facts, and yes, they were both multiple Mr. Olympia winners, with Ronnie Coleman winning 8, Dorian Yates winning 6 Mr. Olympias, definitely dominating all the other bodybuilders of their time period. Having said all of that, they also both ended up with various degrees of injuries. Ronnie Coleman in a wheelchair now, he's had multiple spinal surgeries. I think the last time I saw him on a show, on Joe Rogan's show, he was talking about how he had had just about 13 or 14 surgeries on his spine. Every part of his spine had been operated on in his post-bodybuilding career from the damage that, you know, was done in his bodybuilding career. And also, he said, from football, when he played football. Dorian Yates, he had mainly muscle injuries, not spinal injuries, and he contends that, you know, he injured himself when he was depleted or a little dehydrated just prior to contests. So he was already dieted down. He was already very, very depleted and lean, ultra lean, and still attempting to lift the heaviest weights possible in good form, but let's say with all-out intensity, trying to grow more muscle going into a show, that close to a show, which to this day he says he probably shouldn't have done. So he learned in hindsight, but mainly muscle injuries, and those injuries did end his career. So we could say they both had career enders to a degree of their injuries. So there's a lot in common between the two of them, except for their training. So the big case that I'm making right now. Ronnie Coleman at twice per week, Dorian Yates at once per week. Well, whether you're a drug-using bodybuilder, whether you're a natural bodybuilder like myself, whether you are a weekend warrior trying to grow new muscle. Forget about being a weekend warrior. Not just a gym goer, somebody going to the gym to train, to grow new muscle. You have no interest in competing, okay? Let's think rationally here for a moment. There are certain joints, your shoulders, your hips, your lower back, your elbows, that are vital to living, okay? That are vital to sustaining you, getting from being born all the way till the day you die. And hopefully we would like to do such a thing without causing massive amounts of pain in those joints that you're going to have to live with for years to come. So thinking rationally, I've just offered you 2 examples of 2 extreme bodybuilders, both of them Mr. Olympias, both of them considered humongous and huge for their times. Both of them trained diametrically opposing, one with using twice as much volume as the other one, twice as often training his body parts as the other one. And I can make a case for having much more severe injuries to his body than the other one. To me, it's no contest. Training 2 times a week or 1 time a week per body part. The 1 time a week